There we go. Let me see.
There, right.
Welcome, Meticulous Moments audience. I'm always so excited to be here with you. I absolutely love doing community upliftment through leadership development. And this is a very, very special week at Meticulous because it's MMAM week. And for those of you who don't know what MMAM stands for, it stands for Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. And my brother, Bill Clark, my fabulous brother, he's also a part of the MMAM group. So he's in the Meticulous family and he's also in the MMAM family. And we are just so blessed to spend time with you, Bill. Thank you. You have taught me so much since we've met. And I'd just like to welcome you to the platform and ask you to tell the audience about your martial arts journey.
Well, thank you again. Always a pleasure to be with you, and thank you so much for everything that you do to make the world a better place. So you keep up the great work. So thank you. Yeah. So I guess so my martial arts journey, oh gosh, I wish I had exact years for you, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And I started, I suppose, back when I was really, really small.
Yeah.
With wrestling. And, which to me is a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
And, I ventured off from the wrestling. And I got to a point where, as I moved into middle school, I started playing more football, and it started conflicting with the wrestling. And I had to kind of decide which one. And I think I had much more potential in wrestling just because I'm not very tall. I'm only 5'8". In football, that's not good. But with wrestling, as in weightlifting, you have weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
So. But I still loved all of the wrestling, and what I found was that I could move over into more of the jiu-jitsu world, which for me it was a little bit better because you have a gi and you also have no gi. So I mean, very very rarely do people run around without shirts on, and that's people always saying, well, the no-gi is better. Well, I disagree. I don't think it's better or worse. It's just another avenue of what we do. I don't think there are better or worse. It's just the way it goes. But one thing I really loved about the jiu-jitsu was that, you can wrap people up with your own shirt. It's not just about what somebody else is wearing. It's your own thing, your own stuff that you're wearing. So how to, lock up people's arms and you could choke with your own shirt too. And that's very, very valuable. When I was a policeman, those things came in very, very handy, those techniques. So, which I didn't do for very long, but going back to the original question, I guess I moved from there, into the world of the jiu-jitsu and the jiu-jitsu that we did, it was called, Sento jiu-jitsu, which is the Sento jiu-jitsu, which really means combat jiu-jitsu. So it's, and from what I understand is they debated, the guys that came up with this over in Japan, debated whether or not to keep the word jiu-jitsu in because it does have gi components in it, of course, but that was introduced after. Originally it was just more like submission wrestling. And, and the holds are quite brutal. The jiu-jitsu is the gentle art. The combat part of it isn't so gentle. So there's a lot of leg locks and toe holds, and sometimes the old school guys were pretty. They were pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? They weren't afraid to put people in some pretty legit holds, and it's just it's the nature of the game,
Yeah. Life or
well,
death.
I think jiu-jitsu, and I wouldn't go that far, but I'll tell you, they weren't kidding, and if people questioned, they had no problems. They had no problems demonstrating holds, and I'd seen a couple times where some people would come in. And they they let them have it pretty good, because you get somebody in those ankle locks and those toe holds, boy, you won't be walking the same way for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Where I think the jiu-jitsu part came in, and it kind of transformed as time went on, because gosh, I don't think you could do a lot of the same stuff that back in the 1980s we did. Gosh, you'd get sued, So I think it kind of morphed into where now it's a lot of jujitsu, but it's a lot of submission wrestling too.
Yes.
And they're both great. They're both great. Every martial art is great. And if it's giving you what you need to be a better person and to do a better job in the world, I say go for it. And I also did Kempo too. Kenpo. So I'm a big fan of striking and kicking as well. There's a place for everything. There's a place for everything. And to be a well-rounded martial artist, I think you have to be able to go from the outside to the inside and back out. So, it's funny because the wrestling guys will always laugh at the jujitsu guys and say, you're pulling guard. And the jujitsu guys will laugh at the wrestlers, say, why would I waste my time? I suppose that they're both very valuable. I'm not a big fan in the world, the street. I don't get into the street fights, but when I was a policeman, of course, you have to do what you got to do. And the last thing I wanted to do was go into a guard. That's the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to dominate from the top down, But that's the difference between, I think, the sport and what you might run into out in where it could very well be, a life or death situation.
Yeah. So, and I guess it's depending, like you mentioned, on the scenario, because some things will work in a certain scenario, but some things won't. Depending on if you get into that fight, and you and I have mentioned that before, that we shy away from fights, and we were just talking about the animals, and here's my cat trying to drink my tea.
Yeah.
Depending, my cat drinks tea. This is Gojo, by the way, Meticulous audience.
Hey, hello.
Gold clock. So it depends on the scenario, absolutely. And what do you need to use in that situation? Is this going to be a fight where you're going to be standing, doing the punches and the kicks or the blocks? Is there space to take it to the ground? Is that the right thing to do? How big is your opponent? What's the space between you? Do you want to close the gap? How do you want to approach it? So I agree with you that being a well-rounded martial artist really is a benefit in the long run, because Bill, in South Africa, the crime rate is 5.1 times higher than anywhere else in the world. So you never know what is around the next corner. You never know if it's the person that you look at, in the street, and you think maybe this guy is going to attack, but then it's someone that you would never have guessed. So it's really, to become a well-rounded martial artist, I think, I go, Joe, is a good thing, because in essence, you'll know what to do in a certain situation. I agree with you. And I love jiu-jitsu. I've never done wrestling, but I love jiu-jitsu and what it's taught me. But the Gracies teach it different in their style than some of the dojos that I know here in South Africa. The Gracies, for instance, they will teach that when your opponent is working, is in mount, for instance, that you don't use your own energy, you let them get tired and use their energy. So you are just shying away a little bit, pushing them out, pulling them in until they're so tired that you can get that choke, or you can get that ankle or arm bar. And then in South Africa, we have different senseis. I've seen some of them saying, you have to put in that force and you have to get it done, and you must go in and you must be done and it must be finished. And others say, look at, kind of anticipate what your opponent's going to do, and then you act on that. So there's a place, like you said, for everything, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The thing with that I've always found, with again, I didn't do it for very long, but as a police officer, you don't have the option of running away. You don't have the option of leaving.
Yes.
If you see trouble in a bar, if I see trouble, first of all, I don't go to bars, okay, because I know what happens there. But if I go to a place and my spider sense starts tingling, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go.
Oh yeah.
But when you're a police officer, you're getting called into the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have the opportunity, you don't have that luxury of leaving.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed as a policeman is, you could be surrounded by 3 or 4 people, and the
Mm.
last thing you want to do is go to the ground.
Oh, yes.
You want to be able to move.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you take somebody, you're going to get a knife in your back,
Mm-hmm.
and the longer you're down, and as you say, conserving energy. I'm a huge fan of that in a time and place, in a
Mm.
time and place. But again, in the real world, you have people, and yeah, you might be into a guard situation and trying to conserve energy, but they might be reaching into their back pocket and pulling
Mm.
out some kind of an improvised weapon. We
Oh,
don't know.
yeah.
So this is why you avoid these types of situations, because the variables are so, there's so many,
Yeah.
and they're really in many ways unpredictable. When you're in a ring or something like that, and I was nothing but I competed 21 times, well, actually 3 tournaments
Oh.
that I did, and my coaches didn't know I was doing it, because
Ah,
at that time I was on the U.S. Lifting squad.
yeah.
So my coaches they knew I was doing all the grappling in the martial arts, but I never told them. So if they're going to be watching this, I'm sorry, but
Oh.
but yeah, yeah. Well, these things come out in due time, I guess. But this was back before the UFC. Yes, I'm that old. And I was blessed to go 21-0. I won all 3 tournaments,
Oh.
and
Wow.
there was only one real highly ranked fighter that was there,
Yeah.
and he was exceptionally good with his hands and feet. But again, this is where the whole well-rounded thing hadn't really taken off yet.
Mm.
The whole MMA. They didn't call it MMA. They
Mm.
called it freestyle back in my day. They called it freestyle.
Oh.
And when you took somebody down, you had to be actively pursuing. You
Mm.
had to be actively pursuing a submission, or they'd break it up and set you back up on your feet. So if you got somebody down, you had to move on them.
Yeah.
And if your submission wasn't fast enough, they stood you back up and you started again. So I think what that really bred was, you better get it done fast.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a lot of people didn't know grappling back then very well. So these types of things would be guys that could kick and punch well, but they weren't very well versed. And so as soon as you took them down, and that was always a strategy for me that worked very, very well. But you know what? And this is my point. That strategy in when you have a referee and there's a code of conduct,
Yeah.
that's great. But
Uh-huh.
when I was a policeman, there's no way I'm going to shoot in and take somebody down for a double and move into a chokehold,
No.
because there might be somebody hanging out in the bedroom that's going to come and hit me with a head with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So again, time and place.
Time and
So
place.
in a ring,
Yeah.
time and place, time and place. But this is why I suggest all martial artists that you stay out of trouble, because the variables are such you just don't know what they are. And this is what I learned when I went through police school. Once you put your hands on somebody, or once that contact is made,
Yes.
then you're on. Then
Yes.
you're on.
No
So
turning back.
you better make sure that yeah, there's no turning back. So you really have to, if you're going to put your hands on somebody. Now,
Mm.
if somebody puts your hands on you, that's a different animal. But again, there's so many variables out there that, um, gosh, again, they're just unpredictable. And I can remember going into situations where, again, going into bars, you don't know who's with you and who's against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So and people say don't get your back against the wall. No, I had to get my back against the wall, because that cut down on the variables
Yes.
that I was going to be facing, right? Because now I don't have to worry about somebody coming from behind me. So
Yeah.
I've eliminated part of that sphere. They could still come in front, they could come from the side, but I have a floor so they can't come underneath. And there's
Yes.
no stairs, so they can't come from the top, right?
Yeah.
So your self-defense world is more than a circle, it's a sphere. It's all
Mm-hmm.
around you. And the more you can eliminate those variables, the safer you're going to be. And the safer you are, the more you stack the odds in your favor of a successful outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to be very careful, because you still can't eliminate. I mean, what if somebody just pulls out a gun? I don't know, you
Oh
know.
my gosh. Oh my.
So if you could see the situation coming, you get out. In my case, I don't have that luxury, or I didn't have that luxury. So when I did, again, I didn't do that job for very long, only about 5 years, because I wanted to go back. I wanted to be a policeman. I wanted to do these things, but I also wanted to go back to my athletic life, and they don't mix.
Yeah,
they don't mix. So
I agree. And I understand why. I mean, and for the audience, for those of you who have not met my brother, Bill Clark, because he is my brother, we decided we're brother and sister. He's one of the strongest men in the world. So please tell the audience about your lifting and, the record. And I mean, he broke another record the other day. So the list just keeps getting longer.
Well, thank you very much. I'm nothing special. I thank Jesus Christ, God above.
Amen.
Yes, I did. I just did break another world record at the arena here in Binghamton, where I took and I haven't put the video out. I'll get to it. I have so many things that are ahead of that I have to thank people for, and people first. So I try to take care of all of my my relationships and make connections, and that takes a lot of time. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed that anytime somebody sends me a message, I will reply directly to that message. I don't have somebody doing it for me.
I know.
So I will take the time. If I get 200 comments, I will reply to 200 comments, because somebody took the time to write to me. I'm going to write back. It just takes me so long to do it. So I don't post that much on Instagram or anything like that. I get to it when I can, and when I do, I try to make it motivational and inspirational. So the records, I really don't care too much about those, but I will get the video out. And I lifted up my son. The record was the guy that had the record before me, a very good guy. I like him a lot. He's older now.
Yeah.
And as we know, as you get older, your performance starts to, in some ways, it minimizes. I mean, the things that I used to do at 30, I'm not doing now.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had a 110-pound girl that he lifted up, and then he tore decks of cards while he had the girl across his shoulders. So I was looking for people to lift up so I could break the record, and he did 10 decks of cards, I think, in 1 minute and 22 seconds, which is good. It's a world record. And he's every bit as good of a card tear, decks of cards. He was every bit as good at that as I was.
Yeah.
As that I am. I think the difference was that he does professional carnival strongman things, bending horseshoes, bending steel spikes. I don't do nearly as much of that. I do the horseshoes and the spikes too, but that's really kind of a sideline for me. What I really do is power lift. And the powerlifting makes your whole body strong, the bench pressing, the squatting. So for me, I thought, well, 110-pound person, I can rewrite that record by throwing up a 170-pound person. So I grabbed my son, and he wasn't thrilled, but he did it. So what's funny, because when you see me pick him up, he flies up in the air, and I kind of catch him, So and then we were blessed to do 10 decks of cards in 26 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
I think that the bigger difference was, again, he had to put the girl down. My predecessor, he would lift her up, tear a couple decks, and have to put her down. Because although he was a great card terror, he just wasn't overall very powerful and strong like a lifter would be.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped me out, because I would take Ethan and like I said, they would get annoyed with me. Both my kids would. I would take Ethan, put him up, throw him up in the air, and then start walking around him and everything else. And, and so I think they're kind of done with me, to be honest with you.
Wow!
Those were, when I told.
That's incredible.
I'm sorry, when
Congratulations!
No, it's not
incredible. Wow.
Oh, thank you. It's not incredible. It's just, it's a lot of hard work to get your hands to be strong enough to be able to grab a hold of those cards and rip them like that. So it's hard work, but it's not incredible. Tearing the license plates, it's not incredible. It's what it is. I'll tell you what's helped me a lot, going back full circle. A couple things: being blessed to be a world champion powerlifter and bench pressing over 500 pounds. My best was 570. That was a world record at the time.
Wow.
And, being able to squat and deadlift, near 800 pounds and those things, that really helps a lot. But I'll tell you what else helped me a lot
Yeah.
was my martial arts, because my martial arts taught me how to be very strategic. And so, when I tear the decks of cards, and I'll tell you, what I do is I take the cards and I get them to a point. It's like jujitsu or grappling, submission grappling, where you put a joint into a position where it can't move. And then the person goes, okay, you're going to break my arm or my leg or my foot. Okay, I can't breathe. I tap. Well, the cards can't tap. So you put them into a position where they can't move.
Yeah.
And then you have to just be, you have to be powerful enough and strong enough, because it's speed strength too. And that's the key. You can never lift a heavy weight slowly. You can't lift heavy weights slowly, and you can't really tear a deck of cards. Well, I suppose some people can, but I don't do that. I take them and I snap them. So it's a very explosive movement. Same with the license plates. So I get into a position where they can't move, and I do it over and over and over through repetition, where it just becomes second nature. So, I appreciate the kind words. It is incredible. But I think if people were crazy enough, they would go out and do it over and over and over until it became second nature to them too. And then it wouldn't be so difficult.
Well, I don't see myself lifting a 180-pound person and tearing cords. So to me, it's incredible, because it's amazing what you can do. And what I love about you is you always give the glory and the honor to God. And that's a big thing for me as well. I always tell people, if he doesn't walk alongside us, and if he doesn't carry us in certain areas and in times in our lives, we really cannot do anything. Everything that we accomplish, everything that we're able to do, everything that he's blessed us with, everything that we are, he gets all the glory. And I agree with you completely on that. And I want to say that I'm proud to be part of your family, because you teach me so many lessons, as you teach the audience, as you teach the other members that we know and that we are a part of. And that's something, because those lessons last. And because they become a part of my life, I take them and I transfer them to my children. And that's legacy. So thank you for the good that you're doing out there in the world. We appreciate you for making the time. I know it's a busy week, and you are just always willing to help and assist and uplift, and we appreciate you. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, well, I need to thank you. That is very, very sweet of you. I appreciate that. And, but you're, all glory to God. I am, absolutely nothing. I really, God gives me the message, and then I just go and I try to do my best with it. And as I said, when I was being interviewed after at the arena or during it by the news, getting ready for the world record, they asked me, they said something, and you're ready? And I said, well, I've done my job. I've trained optimally. I've trained hard. Now it's God's will. And, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay with that. There's no other way to go.
That's the truth.
I'm just so thankful that God has blessed me to have done these things and be able to share some messages with people that I hope and pray helps them to become their very, very best along the way too. And that includes you, my sister. So you've done a great job, and you continue to do a great job. And it's my honor and my pleasure to be your sister and your friend and member of your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you to all our speakers, especially Bill that's here with me today. Everyone that was a part of the MAM Week, thank you for making an incredible MAM Week. I'll be posting the video soon, and we'll definitely be back, because Bill and we can talk, and we can talk about many things. So we'll be back in the next session. Enjoy your Friday.
That's very true. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Myra. Thank you. Yeah. God bless you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good day, Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. We are so happy that you are a part of the MAM group. You are loved and appreciated and valued. As members, thank you for all the importation of knowledge and skill and experience. It has been quite the journey thus far. And today we have James the Dragon Turner with us. He's going to be doing a presentation. This is, of course, recorded and it will be uploaded on the Facebook group. So make sure to put your comments there or any questions that you might have for James. I'm going to hand over to you, James. Welcome and thank you for making the time for us today.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak to the fellow members. And yeah, certainly today I was looking forward to speaking with everybody with regards to my kind of unique perspective in the martial arts landscape, really, and the things that I can share from a bit of a unique perspective, because I am a professional kickboxer, currently the IKTA European Light Heavyweight Champion. And I'm the #1 world contender. As a matter of fact, I have a bout in November, and then early next year I am going to be fighting for the world title. So I'm basically a professional fighter who's right at that prime point in the career of a fighter, which you know, often in terms of fighters who speak publicly or athletes that speak publicly, it's largely often a case of they'll share their knowledge and their secrets, their training methods, whatever it might be, long after they've retired. Because a lot of the times people get, I guess they get scared that maybe the things that they share, their prospective opponents may use them on the you know, on the person who's spreading the word, so to speak. But I've never really had a problem with that, because basically the knowledge, the kickboxing knowledge that I've acquired is stuff that's you know, learned from the legends of yesteryear. Many of my kickboxing heroes growing up, guys from the 70s, the 80s. I mean, the names some of you may be familiar with: Don the Dragon Wilson, Bill Superfoot Wallace, Curtis Bush, Rick the Jet Rufus, Great Scott Ashley. Kerry Superkicks Root was one I enjoyed watching a lot as well. John Longstreet. And of course, other big names like Benny the Jet Urquidez, Peter Sugarfoot Cunningham. It goes on and on. Many kickboxing legends. Up through the decades, as time goes on, you get into the 90s, into the 2000s. You've got Sensei Ron Murray, who's obviously a friend of Juanita and a regular contributor to the cause. Absolutely. Of course, a favorite fighter of mine, many of you probably know, is the wrote the foreword to my kickboxing book. That's Massimo Brizzi from Italy. He's actually my grading instructor, so I have my kickboxing black belt with him. As well as that, we've got in the UK, Jason Vassallo, who's a kickboxing legend, good friend of mine, recently won his most recent world title at the age of 44. That was just not this weekend just gone, but the one before that. So certainly the knowledge I've got in kickboxing is you know, it started for me as a fan of Bruce Lee, getting into martial arts movies. That was my first foray into martial arts. I studied Jeet Kune Do, Kali, Eskrima. So I had a good grounding in the traditional martial arts, or more traditional martial arts. And of course, being a martial arts movie buff, I found the films of Don the Dragon Wilson, and he was a world kickboxing champion turned actor. So watching his movies, of course, you then start to think, oh, right, well, I want to find this guy's real fights. And that was the real thing, finding his fight videos and whatnot. That was one of the things that really got me in the door of the kickboxing scene specifically, becoming a fan of kickboxing. So you know, I eventually got to the point where I, you know, became a professional fighter myself. And just like you do with all your favorite martial arts action movie stars, you have your list of favorite kickboxers as well. And that was the position I found myself in. So all of the knowledge I have is information that I've been lucky enough to learn, not just from my own experience and figuring out what works and what's useful, but also through being lucky enough to become friends with many of my kickboxing heroes throughout the years, throughout the decades. And so what I'm able to share, as I mentioned, that's just a little bit of background on me. It is training outlooks physically, and also some psychological aptitude advice that I may be able to share to the martial arts community at large. Because even though most martial artists are not going to enter the ring as professional fighters, or set that quest to become the world champion. You could make the argument, of course, that for the sake of not losing too many brain cells, it might be the safer bet and the smarter option to not be a professional fighter. Just enjoy the training of the martial arts, accomplish your goals within that sphere. I mean, you still have plenty of things to accomplish, whether it's a black belt, maybe you want to open a school. I know several of my friends are working their way into the film business as well. So there are all kinds of avenues that you can take with the martial arts, which really just goes to stand to testament that it's a way of life. And not only is it a way of life, we integrate with the philosophies and the virtues of martial arts, and we live it and breathe it, even when nobody's watching. I'm just making the point that there are many things you can do with the martial arts without having to become a professional fighter. And that's probably smart. But anyway, I fell in love with kickboxing and competing. For me, it's very much a thrill, an adrenaline rush, all of those things. So that's how I really became in tune with maximizing my physical and technical attributes. So you have physical attributes, technical skills, not really considered attributes in the physical sense, I suppose, but you've got those technical proficiency levels that become apparent really the more experienced you get, because you don't know what you don't know. So you see a lot of fighters who are 17, 18 years old, they may have some natural talent. They very quickly think they're ready to rule the world. And you learn from experience that that's not necessarily the case. There's a certain amount of seasoning that comes from experience. So that's something that I've learned over the years, day in, day out, practicing the core fundamental techniques of basically when you're a professional kickboxer, you have to work consistently on basic fundamental. Hi, Renshi Daz, I just saw you come up live on the camera. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so whatever martial art you study is what I'm getting at. There is value to be learned from studying these basic kickboxing techniques. So I'm talking on the technical level right now. So whatever discipline, instead of this person thinks their style's the best and that style's the best, I really think that learning any martial art has value. I often think that the real value for a student of the martial art is in the instructor, not so much the style. And I know Renshi Daz, who's now on the chat, he's a great instructor. He has a loyal following of students who believe in him and his methods and his philosophies. And he teaches a great martial art as well, incidentally. But there are situations where, let's say, someone isn't necessarily learning the martial art that's most geared towards self-defense, or the one towards sport, or whatever it might be. That's fine if they're enjoying the training. They are learning. You can't help but learn some practical fighting techniques, whether for self-defense or for sport, if you're studying a martial art. So even though it may not be the martial art that you wanted to study, and it's just what's in your local area, let's say, take a class, see how you find it. How's the instructor? How's the instructor's camaraderie with the students? You can have two polar opposites. You can have a real dictator, kind of harsh, autocratic teaching style, where basically the students have to yes sir, no sir, and there's no room for humor or enjoyment or anything like that. It's just that's straight. And some people like that. They like the more kind of militant approach. Good for them. On the other side, I have seen you can try to create a good atmosphere, which I like to try to do that. I like to think my students enjoy the classes and we have a good laugh and we train hard and it's all done all in one package. But you can take it to the other extreme where a class doesn't really have any structure of note, meaning you've got an instructor who, it's not even a case of organizing the class well, but people are running around, they're not listening. The instructor may not have the fortitude to just say, listen up guys, I'm teaching now, is the message that you're getting across. When the instructor is teaching, the students display the common courtesy and respect of listening, and then they go back to training once they're given permission. These are just the basic life lessons, the manners that are more exemplified in certain martial arts, whether it be sensei or sifu, you know, you call your instructor by one of those prefixes in the school, the dojo, the kun, whatever it might be. And other places, they may be a little bit more informal. It may just be on a first name basis. That's fine. But I really do think it's important for martial arts instructors to retain a good structure, and don't be afraid to say, because I like to think I'm polite, personable, I'll get along with anybody. I think the students, excuse me, I think you'd find that they enjoy the kickboxing classes, but I am not afraid to speak up and say, listen up, guys, I'm teaching. Oh, sorry, you know, we were just chatting, you know, we thought that that was okay because everybody's nice and friendly here. And yeah, everybody's friendly here, but that's because we're doing a job. We're all working towards a common goal of improvement. And there's, you know, the only way that this can function with everybody getting along, much like in society, you know, there are certain rules and common courtesy practices that we follow through on as human beings. Because if we didn't have any of that in society, of course, we'd all be a bunch of barbarians running around with spiky balls on chains or something, you know, it'd just be craziness. So you need to have some kind of procedure, and that's and that's how you're able to you know, teach with structure, but a level of enjoyment for everybody. So that's the balance I like to strike. All right, so we've covered really an area that I was going to touch on later on there, but that's kind of the teaching end of things. I was just kind of inspired to talk about it as Renshi Daz came onto the chat. But getting back to the more technical end of things, whatever your martial art, whatever your discipline, that's what I was getting to. It behooves any martial artist to study the basic, fundamental skills and techniques of boxing and or kickboxing. A lot of martial artists are already going to know a lot of the kicks that you would use in kickboxing because of their martial art training. Remember that kickboxing started in the mid-70s, formally as a sport anyway, under the name of full contact karate. So it's basically the point karate champions, top fighters of the day. They were looking at guys on TV, network TV at the time. Some of the most famous people in the world were professional boxers. Muhammad Ali, the most famous guy in the world. This is around the time he came back and he beat George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire in Africa, and was the biggest sensation in the world. So this is right at the same time that full contact karate is getting going. They're jumping on this trend of popular mainstream TV fight sports. They decided that, right, point karate is a great sport. It's great for developing speed and timing, but you go in, you make contact with one shot, and then you stop and you reset. And being able to land a technique like that, by the way, is great in self-defense. Because in self-defense, someone's going to be attacking you. They're not going to be a black belt martial arts expert. Black belt martial arts experts don't run around the street attacking people. They never would have made it to black belt because they wouldn't have had the humility and the character to actually see it through to black belt. Someone who attacks somebody on the street is a bully. So a bully doesn't have the fortitude to go through the gradings and get to you know, the top ranking in a martial art. They would fall by the wayside by the time they get to their first belt grading or whatever, or they would have to humble themselves, learn the ways of the martial arts, and basically by the time they reach a high belt ranking, of course, they're a changed character at that point, right? So again, you're going to be attacked. If I hope nobody's attacked, right? Obviously, you know, keep your wits about you when you're out and about. Just, you know, eyes to the wise. Just be aware of your surroundings. Physical confrontation, physical action is certainly the last resort that you're ever going to want to take. I mean, you know, there are legal ramifications. You know, even in positions where you're forced to defend yourself, forced to in those worst case scenarios, some of the laws in some countries, I know we've got people watching this are going to be from all over the world, but there are laws that you even taking reasonable action to protect yourself, which, by the way, at a certain point can mean doing some substantial damage to the person who's attacking you. That may be the only way for you to get yourself, your friends and family out of this dangerous situation. By then, I would argue that there's a good chance you haven't really kept your wits about you if you've let it get to that stage. But sometimes you could be leaving a restaurant and there's an alleyway between the restaurant and the car park, and there's a crazy person there and he's threatening you with a weapon or whatever it might be. And usually you can talk yourself away. The person, if he's got a knife, he might be desperate for money. It's usually they don't want to use it. It's a desperation act. But let's say he's just out of his mind on drugs and he's right there. If I think someone's going to stab me in the next 3 seconds, I'm going to attack them first. If I've got nowhere to go, I can't move. He's right there. If I think in the next 3 seconds I'm going to be stabbed, that knife's coming out of that guy's hand. And if I have to accomplish that, I'm going to do some damage to that person to make sure that they don't damage my innocent family, friends, whatever. There are legal ramifications to that. You know, rightly or wrongly, they say it's the only thing I could have done in that situation. Oh, you did undue damage to this person. I applied the amount of force in that extremely contentious and adrenalized situation that I felt was going to disable that person, frankly, enough from attacking me anymore in that moment. You know, that can be the case. Usually, even with a knife defense, if the knife is out of the person's hand, you can pretty quickly restrain them and not have to do much more, right? But let's say the person's huge and he's just going to overpower you. You might have to do some temporarily, at least, disabling blows, a strike to the groin, you know, go for the eyes, distract them, do what you've got to do to disable them enough to where you can get away. That's the position of self-defense. It's self-defense is that's what we use martial art for in the real world. If we have to use self-defense, then it's again, that's the pretense. It's defending yourself against an attacker. And certainly you shouldn't be going out attacking people, obviously, right? We've talked about that. But the difficulty with self-defense can be, in rare, extreme circumstances, self-defense implies I have to wait for the person to attack me. Now, if anybody can get away with that, well, get away with it. I say if anybody would like the idea of that, it should technically be somebody like me, because I'm one of those kickboxers who I'm a counter fighter. So I do well when my opponents are coming at me. I got a whole arsenal of techniques. They throw something at me, they're going to get something back, right? But you're face to face, the guy's there, he's aggressive, it's going to happen, you know he's going to hit you. And that's what I was mentioning in terms of if I think the person's about to hit me and there's nothing I can't go anywhere, I'm going to have to stop them from doing that. And it might very well mean that I have to hit them first. Could be. So in that context then, a karate block, like a high roof block and a counter punch works very well against some knucklehead who would attack somebody. Because again, they're not going to be a skilled martial artist. So one defense, one strike, you know, one blow, one kill. That's the karate philosophy, for example. They're out of there. Absolutely. And that was the philosophy of the point karate fighters, which is how the sport developed. So you would basically strike once and then you'd reset and you'd go again. That's how that sport essentially started. And it was, of course, able to be utilized as a safe platform that many martial artists could partake in because, you know, you would control the strike. You know, limited contact. It shows this is the shot I would have landed. And then you break it up and you go back to the middle again and you're on to the next round of competition. So you'd have one person scores a point, back to the center, the other person scores a point, reset. Full contact karate was evolving, of course, concurrently, as I mentioned, and they found out pretty quick that when you scored that one shot, let's say you've got boxing gloves on, and you're not against a knucklehead on the street now, you're against another trained professional martial artist, a high-level competitor. Well, that person may very well defend that first strike, and they're going to try to counter you with something, and it happens that fast. It's not block and strike. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 that fast. So you don't really have enough time, let's say, to move your arms in various directions. If you open your arm at one position to block a punch or a kick, you just left yourself open down the middle on the center line. So when you're boxing and kickboxing, your target is a lot smaller. Your chin is down, your arms are in by the body, and your hands are up by the face. You see, to look at it in the camera, it looks very small. Even when I can't see it from here, but when I'm posing for magazine photos or whatnot, I even have to kind of exaggerate and bring the stance out a little bit. You can see more of me because it doesn't look as spectacular for publicity purposes, right? But in kickboxing, especially if you're in that mid to close range, you want your elbows in, your chin down, your hands up, able to protect yourself. And it's it's not so much block and counter. Your blocking is really, you've got combinations of techniques. You can parry a punch, which is a very subtle movement. Your hand just comes away from your face, goes to the middle, the center line. And again, it's so subtle because you parry too far. If you go over the center line, then the person will fake a jab and then they'll just throw a second jab and that'll land because you're blocking too extravagantly. So it's subtle blocks, subtle covers. You slip your head left and right. You hooking punches like this, you weave underneath them. And all the time you can counter with punches at the same time, right? So these are basic boxing techniques that, you know, are used in kickboxing. Like I say, the full contact karate fighters, as the sport evolved, full contact karate, it became known as full contact kickboxing. They learned from experience very quickly that, okay, well, we want to fight and be like the boxers that we see getting loads of money and TV exposure. Part of it is you need to learn how to box. So like I say, a lot of you guys listening to this, if you've done more traditional martial arts and you haven't studied or trained in boxing before, I'm sure many of you have, but I'm just saying, those of you who have will probably vouch for me on this one, that it will only help your traditional martial arts training. The traditional karate blocks and counters are great. It makes you an extremely dexterous and skilled martial artist. And you are able to defend yourself effectively against attackers if you would need to. Learning the katas and the forms, it really expands your what I call physical vocabulary as much as your mental, emotional, spiritual vocabulary. Going through a traditional martial art and reaching a high belt grade really does develop you as a person in a way that most activities cannot. I can show you guys who are naturally talented boxers. They go into the gym, they train in boxing. You know, they are successful amateurs, they may go professional. A lot of those people, they've learned the life lessons that kind of come with boxing, which is kind of, you know, it's like a more Western martial art, you could say. But some guys, they go to certain boxing gyms, the atmosphere, the coaching mentality, they could be really good, skilled boxers, and yet they don't have any of these important lessons that the martial arts teach us. They don't have respect for others. They don't respect themselves. They're arrogant. They have a bad attitude. And that's why a lot of these guys, they're already a victim to drink and drugs by the time they're 23, 24. They can't keep their life on the straight and narrow. They don't have that grinding that the martial arts affords us. So like I say, I'm a big proponent of traditional martial arts. Even as a professional kickboxer, I'm a big proponent of traditional martial arts. It's the foundation of what we do as athletes. And that's why, even though I'm very much in that sports world as one of the top kickboxers in the world now, I'm always very supportive of events and perpetuating the traditional values of the martial arts. I'm a regular at the UK Martial Arts Show, which I hope to see you at in the future, Juanita. I think that might be that would be nice if we had you at an event in the future. And of course, with Juanita's own organization and this gathering of the martial arts masters, the masterminds, I'm a big proponent of all of this kind of thing, because it really does, that's the higher level of understanding of martial arts. It's not just physical techniques. But with all that said, I really do recommend that any martial artist who would really like to expand their ability to execute techniques with a breadth of understanding, do a little research into boxing. There's a reason why Bruce Lee was so big on reading those old Jack Dempsey books. Boxing is an invaluable tool to implement for the martial artist, whatever your discipline. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. And again, even with the kicks, most of you guys listen to this. Now, whether you've got boxing training or not, I know most of you guys and girls who are listening to this have experience with the kicks. Front kick, roundhouse kick, side kick, hook kick. Those are your basics. You got axe kicks as well, but many a twisting kick. Many of the other kicks and the spins and the variations and the jump kicks that come, they basically are variations of those kicks, right? And of course, you've got your various Asian language names for those kicks, you know, whether it be Chinese, Japanese, Korean, your own individual system, you'll identify those kicks as under different names. And that's fine. They're all basically the same kicks. And the different martial arts have their own versions of them and the way they're taught. Slight technical deviances, but it's basically the same thing. So you guys are pretty familiar with that. The way we kick in kickboxing, or the way the good kickboxers kick in full contact, because you've got to remember, professional full contact kickboxing, you can use all techniques with the hands that you can use in boxing. Okay, you can't use elbows, you can't use the head, you can't grab. All great techniques for self-defense, but you can't do any of that. So from the waist up, it's literally the same as boxing. So what's the difference? Well, we can also, those kicks we just talked about, we can use those kicks above the waist only. No kicking the legs, no kicking the knees. Now, in this day and age, kickboxing is very much used as an umbrella term to describe a whole variety of sports and workouts and this and that. Your UFC commentators, they say, oh, he's got good kickboxing. What they mean is he's good at punching and kicking. It's not necessarily that he's a kickboxer. So what I've just described to you, the boxing punches, the kicks above the waist from the martial arts, that is kickboxing. That is actually kickboxing. And the long form title, to distinguish it from those other disciplines, sports, workouts, and whatnot, full contact kickboxing, as in full contact karate, as it used to be called. Now we call it kickboxing, full contact kickboxing, to distinguish it from K1, Thai boxing. And of course, for amateurs, you still have light contact kickboxing, which is where you have, it's the same techniques, but you just pull back on the power. So there's no knockout, so you can only win on points. Semi-contact kickboxing, actually, is a term used to describe what we used to call point karate. So it's that same discipline where you'd strike, stop, come back to the middle, go again. So it's more similarly to the light contact kickboxing. Full contact kickboxing, which is, you know, most prolific in the professionals, is exactly like boxing. We fight for 12 rounds. You can win by knockout, or you can win by decision. You know, 3 judges at ringside will score the bout after 12 rounds. But of course, as I mentioned, as well as the hands, we also kick above the waist. And the main distinctive feature is we wear long trousers instead of shorts. And we've got shin guards on under our trousers, and we wear kick boots or foot pads. So that's full contact kickboxing. So the way we throw the kicks, we use those same kicks that you use in those traditional martial arts. But when we throw them, we keep our elbows into our body and we keep our hands up. Now, when you're kicking in martial arts, you know, the different arts, they may have a method of a traditional hand position. Maybe you bring this hand back by your waist. The other arm maybe extends or something like this. That's fine. It's good for training. Yeah, good for training form. I know in Kung Fu, some Kung Fu disciplines, you'd actually have one hand here to protect the face, and one hand would be at this angle. It would go down to protect a potential kick to the groin. So the philosophy behind that does make sense. Obviously, in self-defense, or if, you know, in a fight with no rules, you want to protect the groin, obviously. But in full contact kickboxing, the main target area, you're against another professional, they're equally skilled at throwing many punches and kicks in combination above the waist. This hole from my belly button up to here, that's the target area. So I need to be well protected. And if I'm on one leg, I do have a certain amount of mobility on one leg. I can, if you imagine this is my foot, I can skip along the floor in a side kick position. I've got a certain amount of mobility, but I don't have as much mobility as when I'm on 2 feet moving laterally. I can combine it more easily with head movement, get out of the way. So you have a limited mobility when you're on one leg. So if your arms are out like this, you have no protection, and the guy, he's set on 2 feet and he's ready just to throw a right cross or whatever his technique, but yeah, you're open. So it's very important. When you think about it, there's no kick in the martial arts where you, if with a certain amount of balance training, because we've all got pretty strong legs and hips and whatnot through our training, there's nothing where you need to do this. It feels better. Obviously, if you feel like you have more balance, a tightrope walker, obviously, you know, they do this for balance. That's why they do it. But tightrope walkers don't have a martial artist or a kickboxer in front of them trying to hit them. So that's why when we're doing these punches and kicks, we need to have our elbows in and our hands up. So I would encourage everybody who's watching, you call it the shameless plug, but I did this book for a reason. And that's to educate people, and also really sincerely to the martial arts public, people like me who I found kickboxing through my foray into the martial arts. Some people may not have really found kickboxing, or they weren't so sure if it was the training style for them. If you would like to do it properly and learn from a trained professional, which I humbly state, I am a trained professional. I am the #1 rated kickboxer in the world at the moment in my weight division with 2 organizations. And, you'll learn the real techniques with the punches, the kicks, the defense. So I really do think that it will make you a better able martial artist in terms of being able to defend yourself, being able to execute all your techniques. If you can do some kickboxing style training, it will help you with your techniques across the board. And I don't know how much time we've got, Juanita. Was just going to touch a little on some training. You tell me how much time we've got left, and then I'll know how to carry on.
We can go. I'm enjoying it
We'll
so
go.
much. Thank you. You're good to go.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Well, I'll try to keep it to another 10, 15 minutes maybe. But basically, as well as the physical techniques, let's say, to really execute techniques as a martial artist, of course, we do need a certain amount of physical fitness. And of course, we're all in that same position where with every day we're getting older, right? So we think, okay, well, fitness, oh, that's a young man's game, a young lady's game. I mean, I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm not as young as I used to be, the saying goes, right? So there's only so much I can do. Well, fine. There's only so much you can do. Okay, fine. We're all getting older, but I can assure you that you can be in phenomenal shape, whatever age you're at. The key is to train consistently and try as much as reasonably possible to avoid injuries. Now, avoiding injuries, that's obviously contextual. I'm the guy who gets in the ring with professional kickboxers who are trying to hit me. So obviously I have to accept that there's a certain risk of injury in that activity. But as much as I can in my training towards the fight, and when I'm actually in the fight itself, I do prioritize defense. A major benefit in paying attention to your technique and trying to be a really good technical martial artist is that your defense will be better. You'll get hit less. Everybody gets hit. We're not Superman in there. If you take kickboxing and training with others or in competition, you will take a certain amount of contact. You will get hit with some jabs or whatnot. But what you don't want is to get hit with your opponent's best shot on the chin, because no matter how tough you are, that's what shuts the lights out. And just in case anybody's listening saying, oh, well, hang on a minute, I've got a good chin though, I'm tough. Trust me, if the chin gets hit correctly, just enough force and momentum coming from each direction, you just get caught right, you didn't see it, the head gets turned just that little bit, it's that little twisting motion, all the lights shut off. I've seen it over and over. I've seen it, guys, tougher, oh, he's got, a chin like a fire hydrant, you hit him, he's not going to go anywhere. One day that chin cracks. It happens to everybody. So yeah, best course of action to protect against that is to keep that chin down and out of the way. So that's an aside. Beyond that, wherever you are in life, taking as a martial artist, this is your physical tool, right? So we're still talking about the physical end of things here. If you can get involved in a little bit of the training that's wherever you are in your current level of fitness, maybe you've been injured, ill, sick, and you're trying to work your way back in, maybe you've had a layoff, whatever, or let's say you're training regularly and you're looking to expand your training knowledge. Within the book, I talk about how as professionals, we run in a certain way. We hit and kick the bag in a certain way. We hit the focus pads and training apparatus, a lot of the stuff that you'll already have in the dojo or in the gym, whatever it may be. Andy Dumas, my co-author, and myself, we basically explain in the book from top to bottom how to use these different tools to get the most out of them, and in a way that's safe and that you can work at your own level. So you don't, a big key to being fit in the long run. Now, we all have different standards of fitness. So to me, what might be an easier day may not be an easy day to someone who's not yet in very good shape. So I'm not saying that it's just, oh, that's easy, that's hard. We all have our own level, but whatever is really hard for you, like hard training, you don't necessarily want to train like that every day. Even if you're training 80, 90% hard, if you're not training for a competition in particular, you only really want to do that every other day. You know, then the second day, you still go through the routine and you can still train hard. You can still push yourself, but just knowing to hold back a little bit. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you think, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to let it all go and empty it on the bag. And that might be the day where you also, let's say, do your weight training, because that's another thing we talk about in the book. 3 days a week, you add some weight training into your training routine. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, there's no weight training. It's just the cardio, the running, and the kickboxing training. So you, on that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's almost barely noticeable to the onlooker. But you might say, I'm just going to hold back a little bit. I'm not going to risk injuring myself. I'm not going to push myself so hard that I can't recover from it. You just take a little edge off. And then on Friday or Wednesday, wherever you may be in the week, you can bring it up a little bit. This kind of undulating intensity will really help you develop your fitness in the long run. So you can practice training in that way. You can do a 6-day-a-week routine for maybe a few weeks and say, let's try it. Let's train like a kickboxer and see what I get out of it as a martial artist. You can learn everything about how to do that in the book. Now, some of you may not have time to do that 6 days a week. You may say, right, I can only do 3 or 4 days a week. So on those 3 to 4 days, I'm going to try to run in the morning and train later in the day, just like James put in the book. And you just do that, work to a level that you can accomplish. Don't injure yourself. Work it up. Maybe take a period of a few weeks where you do this. You then may take a break and go to another style of training that you may enjoy. You may do CrossFit or whatever it may be. And then you think, do you know what? I'm going to look at the book again. I'm going to do another kickboxing phase. Maybe next time you try to step it up and do a little bit more. Maybe you do 6 rounds on the bag instead of 4. Little things that you can improve. Now, some of you may be listeners you may be listening to this and thinking, James, I don't have time even to do a run in the morning and a training session at night. I've only got an hour a day and then I have to be with my family. I don't have time to do that. Well, that's fine. So then what I would suggest you do is you train once a day and you mix the training up. So let's say day 1, you're going to go for a run. Maybe you'll run 3 miles, 4 miles, whatever you want to do. We explain how to do that in the book to get the most out of it. Day 2, then we're going to do a kickboxing workout. Maybe we'll shadow box, hit the bag for a few rounds, skip rope. Fine. Day 3, we'll do some weight training. We'll go to the gym. We'll do bench press, lat pull down, leg press, bicep curl, tricep extension, which, you know, this basic muscular endurance, muscular strength training does supplement the cardiovascular work that you did on day 1 with your running. Day 2, of course, you brought it all together with the punching and the kicking. And then you can repeat that. So you've got a 6-day work week. You've got a run on Monday, kickboxing on Tuesday, weight training on Wednesday, repeat. Or you can only do 5 days, that's fine. Running on Monday, kickboxing on Tuesday, weight training on Wednesday, running on Thursday, kickboxing on Friday, weekend off, and then you start where you left off on Monday. So on Monday, you start with the weight training and keep going. You can do that for 3 or 4 weeks. That might be good enough to get your foot in the door. And then after 3 or 4 weeks, you've done your full contact kickboxing training phase. You're going to take a break. You're going to go and do something else, whatever your other training is. When you decide to come back to it again, well, next time you'll probably say, do you know what? I tried it. I've had some time. Now I think I can figure out how I can fit in. Maybe I can do a morning run and an evening training session. So just little by little, you progress it over time. I'm not saying buy this book and become a 12-round professional kickboxer, overnight. And like as I mentioned earlier, for most people, that's probably not the smartest or even the wisest idea. More power to you. Maybe you're smarter than me by not being a professional kickboxer, is why I always tell people. But nonetheless, I really do sincerely hope that you will find some training technique and physical attribute exercises that will benefit all martial artists. I really sincerely believe that. And just for a couple of minutes, I'll just briefly to close, just mention that there's also some important training tips for your mind. So we've talked very much physical and technical so far. Now we're getting into the psychophysical. How does the psychology of kickboxing enable you to train better as a martial artist? Well, it kind of converges a little bit with how you would train as an actor, because I know some of you guys listening, you're into your acting and you work on films and whatnot. So when you're developing a character, you put yourself psychologically in the position of that character. Whether you use a personal experience that you can relate to that gets you riled up or excited or emotional, whatever it might be, you can place that onto your role. You don't have to tell the director what that is, but you know what taps into you and affects you, that you can then parlay into a character that maybe has a different circumstance to you, but you can use that similar thought and place it on the character. Now, beyond that, the next level of that is to say, well, what if I really was a professional kickboxer? You do a little bit of acting here. You can say, what if I really was training to fight against this top fighter? I have to get ready. What if? So, to you actors out there who may be, not looking to fight anytime soon, which, as I said, that's probably smart, not the smartest vocation. You can at least, for that 4 to 6 week period that you're doing that training, you can use a little bit of psychological aptitude, and that can help you in life. Because when you're training and you're imagining, okay, I'm counting down the weeks, we've got 6 weeks until this imaginary fight, but you're going to really integrate and you're going to believe it. You're going to believe it before you get there. My acting coach, the legendary Nick Mancuso, he says, I can't take the audience on this journey of a story with me unless I go on that journey, I take that journey myself. So you, as you're training and going through the information in this book, put yourself psychologically in the position of a kickboxer. You will experience, when you really are able to tap into this and use your imagination, because you all have it, you love the martial arts. You're fascinated by the martial arts. So you already have a vivid imagination, each of you listening, I know you do. So you use that imagination and put yourself in the position, I'm training to fight, you name it, so, if you really want to get yourself going, say you're training to fight Mike Tyson in your mind, right? Now the pressure is really on. Yeah, I don't want to fight Mike Tyson, but I'm just saying, you really, you put the pressure on in your mind. You say, right, I'm getting ready to fight this dangerous opponent. So you really put yourself in that place when you're working the heavy bag. And this is also good for you guys, because then you'll be more able to imagine when you're training techniques. And I know a lot of you do this already, but it will reinforce and retrain your ability to say, well, what if I was training against someone who's really attacking me with a knife? So when you're in the gym training as a kickboxer, you'll be really sharp. You're using that imagination to, when you're back in the dojo and you're doing your traditional martial arts and you're training against a weapon or a self-defense scenario, you're not just going through the motions to get the technique. You can really use that psychological aptitude to put yourself there, and it will improve your ability to control your adrenaline when it counts. Because a lot of us in the martial arts, of course, we train the techniques ad nauseum. And then I know this has happened to martial artists. They go out in the street and someone's really attacking them, they completely freeze. They can't even understand it. They're it's frozen. They can't talk the attacker down. They can't calm them down. They can't take control of the situation. Okay, easy, buddy. What do you want? You want money? Okay, fine. Take my credit card. It's not that important. That's fine. All right, buddy. You take what you need. No problem here. They can't even do that. They're frozen. The guy knows that you're scared, and now he sees you as a soft target. Who knows, right? So when you train with the right psychology, you're able to control your adrenaline better. Now, luckily for me, I get a lot of practice at doing that, because every several months, I'm trained to fight one of the top kickboxers in the world, and we get in the ring, we fight for 12 rounds. So I'm used to being in an adrenalized state, but I'm also very used to being able to control it. So for me, even though when you're fighting, your body knows you're about to go to war, you can't help that. But there's always some adrenaline flowing through you when you get into the ring. But I'm very calm and relaxed when I get into the ring, because I know that I perform better when I can see things clearly. I can relax. I'm not relaxed like I'm ready to go to sleep. It's an alertness. You're relaxed, but you're alert. It's a ready relaxation. And the more you train in kickboxing, and you tap into some of the psychological things as well as the technical things that we talked about, you're much more able to train effectively with the right mindset. And I can only tell you that that will help you immeasurably, as much as the techniques that you'll learn, because the fight game, the professional fight game, so much of it is mental. I've seen guys with all the skill in the world, and they get in the ring, and I can see it in their eyes. They're beat before the first bell. So much of it is cultivating that mental aptitude that I keep referring to. So yeah, that's basically the crux of what I wanted to talk about today. I want to share a little bit of information about kickboxing, how the physical technique, the physical attributes that you can improve through fitness training. We can all do it. We can all become a little fitter, a little bit sharper, a little bit faster, have a little bit more strength and endurance. That's good for all martial artists to do. Even if you're into one finger lock takedowns and you think, I don't need to worry about any of the fitness stuff, trust me, it's worth doing for your life, health, and your martial art in general. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about the psychological end of things and how you can use your imagination when you're training to get more out of your training. So the book is called Full Contact Kickboxing. I'm very honored that it's been critically acclaimed already. Curtis Bush, who's one of the all-time great world kickboxing champions, he says it is the best book on full contact kickboxing. So I'm very honored and appreciative that he feels that way about it. Shingo Fukushima, who's one of the top world kickboxing historians, he knows everything about the sport from its inception through to today. His words were, it is by far the best instructional book on the subject. So I say that with all humility. I'm very grateful and humbled that the book's been received that well. Please do, if you go onto Amazon or whatever your local book retailer might be, it's very easy to find. Full Contact Kickboxing, a complete guide to training and strategies. I'll be very keen to know how you find it, if you enjoy it, if you get something out of it. I'm pretty easy to find. You can just ask Juanita. Obviously, I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find. So yeah, please do let me know how you get on with the book. And thank you very much for your support. And of course, for listening to me today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, James, for pouring into us today. We really appreciate it. And I would really encourage the MAM members to purchase a copy of your book. We all need that kickboxing in our martial arts. Like you said, that is the truth. Absolutely helps us to defend ourselves and to not be knocked out. And yes, we have Japanese terms for the kicks, but I believe that, it's all the same kicks that are repeated. So it'll be an easy read and easily understandable. Thank you so much for bringing that connection and, between the physical aptitude that we have to have, between the technique that we always have to work on, and then, of course, the mental space. And I really have to agree with you. I've also seen fights before where you can just see the person is fit, they have the technique, but mentally they're not even present in the ring. And that is a no-go. So let's work on all of those aspects of our martial arts, and let's use kickboxing as that bridge to our martial arts or to any other form of self-defense that we do. So we appreciate you, James. Keep shining. I'm going to purchase my copy of your book. And as soon as it arrives here, I'll start reading it. Have a beautiful day. Thank you from all of us.
Thank you very much, Juanita, for everything you're doing. Congratulations on your show. And thank you very much for the support as well. I really do appreciate it. And please do keep shining yourself. You're an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you, James. Have a beautiful day. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Juanita. Bye-bye. Bye.
Good day, Meticulous Moments audience. It is MAM week at Meticulous. And if you are not familiar with the term MAM, it stands for Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. And we have these impeccable martial artists that are a part of this group, and they are just amazing. And they're doing instructionals today and the rest of this week. And today we have the fabulous, my very good friend, John G. Paul. He's a martial artist. He's an actor. He's a stunt choreographer, a stuntman. He does so many things, and he's going to be doing this presentation for us. So I give over to you, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, this is for people who've been training for a while. I wouldn't say for beginners. So people who've been training for a couple of years. So it's just to like finesse their technique. So just to sharpen up their little key points that they do, just to add on to what they already know. My best advice is not to stick to one particular style. I mean, myself, I literally just steal from everybody because I look at that and I go, yeah, that works. Yeah, that works. And I literally just enjoy seeing good techniques from different styles, because there's no one style that's particularly better than the other. It's all down to the individual. So I take from every style that I like, which is a lot. And then I mix it into my either Muay Thai or wrestling or Jiu-Jitsu classes accordingly, depending on what's needed at the time. So we won't go by rounds. We'll just throw a few techniques so you understand what I'm doing. So we was discussing throwing a straight 1-2, because I used to box as well. So I boxed for about 9 years. So when most people throw a straight 1-2, they stay there and the bag doesn't progress. It's because they don't put their shoulder all the way through. As you can see, I'm still more or less in a straight line. All I've got to do is that. You can see the movements in the bag. So from here to here, my back foot's elevated here, and I just turn my shoulder in. So when you try that 1-2 again, put the shoulder in, it's a massive difference in the movement. A lot of people do it and you get complacent, and I'm constantly nagging at my students, both private and in classes, put your shoulder through. And the best way to do that is to pull back the one you're not using. Great example of this is John Wayne Parr. He preaches this all the time. And as soon as I saw him do it, I was like, that makes sense. I'm doing it. So the guy clearly knows what he's talking about. So as you try out your jab, when you go to try out your cross, think about not just putting out the right cross or the left cross, depending on your stance. Pull the left shoulder back here, and you get that range movement. And you've also got a guard. So pull it back to your face. I don't know if people understand centrifugal force. The further out it is, the slower it moves. Well, it's the same in martial arts. If I do this and I scoot back here, because I think I'm generating more power, I'm actually slowing down the technique. So to make it go faster, pull your hand back to your face. So when you come out to here, cross comes out sharper, and I fully pivot my hip, and I get my whole body through. See my never right shoulder's now in front. So it's very basic, but it's prominent in a fight situation. And when we all know we can work a jab, and if it snaps out, cross is the one that does the real damage. So when you're coming out to it here, it's the shoulder going through as it works again. Big difference between the jab and the cross. So next time when you throw a cross, think about, I'm not even going to use my hands. So my lead shoulder is here for my jab, but then my right shoulder must swap places with my lead. So my right shoulder must be here, or else it's just going to go from here to here, and it'll be the same place where the jab's going to be, which is not enough. So the jab goes to here, and without putting any power in, I'll place my hand on, and I'll just bring my shoulder forward and straighten my arm, and you can see the reach difference in the punch. And that's without leaning forward. So go here, here. Just from that, bring your hand back to your face, draw it back. That's the key here to get that extra 5, maybe 10% of power in your right cross or left cross, depending on your stance. So that's the basic jab cross combo that I work a lot on. I make my fighters, my students do, not necessarily to be more aggressive, but to make sure they have clean technique. Because we all know if you've hurt somebody in a fight, they don't want to keep fighting you. So that's what you want to do. You want to stop the fights ASAP. So you hurt them, they don't keep fighting. You don't have to waste any more energy. All right. So it's the same again with a hook. When you throw in a hook, I might have to move the camera. So when you throw a hook, you need to, your right hand is the one that comes forward here, and you drop your body weight here. So I'm slipping their right cross. So the right cross will come in. That's a basic boxing move to slip. They slip here. But as you do that, bring your right arm forward here. And then again, I pull my right shoulder behind me, and then I can express that left hook better. And if you look at the position of my hand as well, it's not like this. So when I've done my hook, my hand is not in this position. It's here, my thumb's at the top. I call this stirring the pot. So it's not what you think it is. It's not about negative attitude towards other people. It's about stirring a witchy cauldron. So, but you need to have your hand in this position to do it. So I call this stirring the pot because it looks like I am actually stirring a pot when I throw the shot. So when I throw my hook here, my hand comes back to my face. So if you watch how fast it comes back to my face, it's from that stirring the pot. So I drop here, and my hand automatically comes back to my face. So it's not this here and letting it drop. That's no good because you can see no defense, broken arm if they kick it. So you go back to here and you come off their head. Keep going through until you got back to you. So you draw the big circle here, back, and you do that by stirring the pot. It's up to you if you want to pivot. I recommend you do because not everybody's knees are as good as they should be. So here to here and back. And the other hand stays. None of this business. This again, centrifugal force slows it down. As soon as you want it to go to here, because only one is being pulled out, you're keeping the speed. So if you've got your arms dropping to here, stretching out your shoulders, you're causing damage to all your ligaments and your joints in your body. Hit this one locked in, and you get all the power in the left hook. So it drops to here, and then when you pivot in, stir the pot and pull this right arm back here, and it comes back to your face immediately. And that's much better from a fighter's perspective as well. Also from any form of self-defense. If you want to hit somebody here, you want to come straight back to here. But this business here is dangerous. This here, if you hit and drop, is dangerous because you've got no defense after your technique and you start to become lazy and complacent. Think about techniques. Stir the pot, come back. Stir the pot, come back. Stir the pot, come back. That's all it is. You're just stirring a big pot with your left hook. So I'm going to add a bit of speed and a bit of power into this shot now, and it comes in here. Straight back. I don't even have to think, it just comes straight back to my face. So a lot of Thai boxers, they'll throw their left hook and they'll come in here. This is where they want to be. Straight back to here. So that's how it works really well. Stirring the pot. That's mine. All right. So I used to have a knockout right hand, but it was only because my collarbone is out of shape. And I didn't realise that it was adding more intensity into my overhand right, like I'm bowling a cricket ball. If you ever play cricket and you see people bowl, it's this action here. Well, that's the same with the bowling of the cricket ball, with the bolo overhand right. So what I'll do is I'll do the same flip again, but as I slipped here, over the top. But they don't see it because I'm evading. And then my overhand right, as you slip there, right hand, their straight punch comes over the top. And the hand is in this position, not this. This technique is here. So it's coming over the top, down. And as you hit, you punch down on their face as it comes in. That's the one that does the damage. Did knock out a few people in my day back in my day. Well, not knock them out, but knock them down. And because they didn't see it, it wasn't necessarily a monster punch, but it hurt. Yeah, it landed quite well, and people didn't see it at all. It's all because you slip from here to here, and again over the top, shoulders covering your jawline, left hand's covering your face. Come back to here, straight back up. All you got to think about after every technique you do is, can I get my defenses back to where they need to be? I fought for a long time in the 90s, and I was taught blocking kicks like this against Thai boxers. Never do it, because I ended up with a broken arm there. That bone's been broken 6 times from blocking kicks like this. Just my best advice to anybody who wants to enter in fights and tournaments: don't block kicks with your arm. Don't do it. How big is the shin bone? How big's the ulnus? Ulna or radius? So the radius is the one on the outside because it radiates the arm. And then the ulna is the one on the inside. So you need to think about, well, that might be the other way around. I always get them to do the wrong way around. But I did break that. So anyway, When you're defending a kick, it's here. Body shot is here. So the action is here, and you go with the kick. It's just like a box. Someone rolls with the punch. When he gets hit, he rolls with the punch. Same action here. Real simple movement. Just keep the elbows tucked in, because then you've got muscle, bone, muscle, muscle, bone. You got a lot more protection. And if you have it away from your body, two things are going to happen. If they do hit your arm, you're going to hit yourself. And I always say, why are you hitting yourself? And the other one is because your arm's away from you, it's loose, which is easier to break your arm, which is another thing that happened to me when I fought for a world title in France. My arm was extended out here. The guy kicked it. My arm was in this position. Should have been here. So I'm learning from experience, teaching people not to make the mistakes I made growing up as a pro fighter. So when you take the kick, it's here, and you just roll with it. But the good thing about that is, if they're here and they're throwing that kick to you, it's here to here, you get a chance to counter accordingly. And again, if they throw with their lead leg and they switch here, here, they're still in the same place. Don't step back when you take a kick. Just exactly take it where it is, stand your ground, counter straight away. You'll see it immediately from here to here, just that. Right, here's the one where you do move your arm, front kick, because it comes out in front. So you draw a circle and you grab the foot with your palm. So you're grabbing the foot, you literally, because the glove opens up, and that's designed to grab underneath the back of the heel. So when you grab the front kick here, and you do a thing called a sit back, in stunt training, they call this an Elvis as well, because, so anyway, that's just me being silly, but they call it a sit back. They sit back here to here. So the reach from the kick is from here to here. So they go from here, as I sit my hips back, I've took that distance away. I don't move my arm, but I move my body out. So again, you lean back here. Yeah. So as they try their kick here, and you can counter by grabbing their leg, pull them out of the way, and counter accordingly. Leg, body, head kick, punch, whatever. A good one that I do usually do when I'm sparring with the guys and I want to play fight with them is I'll do that hooking the foot with my lead hand here, straight into the foot. There's no power in it, but it's really annoying, and it scores high because the judges see that you countered straight after a technique has tried to be landing on it. Goes straight. You can see there's some power, but not enough to knock anybody out. Again, people who throw leg kicks, different variations. You have Rico Verhoeven, who likes to kick straight through his opponent's leg, literally like kicking a football straight up. Yeah. People don't like this because a lot of groin shots get landed, obviously. But if you're kicking straight through here, you can hear the depth of the kick, and it's your shin hitting their knee back. So you're always aiming for the back leg here, so you step slightly out. So the angle would be here, and I'd step slightly out, and then my leg comes through on that angle. And you leave your leg loose. So your leg is like you're kicking a football. That's why they call it a soccer kick, because you kick the football. So you step slightly out to here, kick the football, and you can see there's enough movement in the bag. And we all know in a big bag that the lower it is, the heavier it is. And yeah, that hurts when you keep getting on. But it's the same with the switch of the lead leg, as I say, switch your hips here. And you don't kick round if you're throwing a soccer kick, kick a football. Because you do kick a football like that. Nobody kicks a football like that. They always go, the goal's over there, so let's kick the goal. And that's how you get people to learn a basic leg kick. Yeah. It's a real cheap and easy way to get it to go. So when you're stepping across here, you throw your leg kick, just think to yourself, the ball's there. But instead of kicking with the foot, obviously kick with the shin. So you come across to here. And as you can see, I'm skipping into it as well. Yeah. So I'll do a fake out with my hands here, launch in. See, I'm launching forward here, and get the power in that way. You can see there's movement in the bag. You can hear it when it hits as well. All right. Yeah. So when throwing and I'm blasting through this as well, by the way, because I just want to get these techniques out of the way. And you can watch this over again. If you ever have any questions, either contact Juanita or myself, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. Soccer kick with the lead leg on a switch. Keep your lead shoulder in front. So when you're throwing that switch, and I do a thing called a short switch. So you get a lot of fighters and they'll switch here and they'll launch into it. See all of that, and it's too much effort to go back from. So shorten the switch. So instead of doing a big switch here, which is great, it still works. You want this here, shorten the switch out. You get more speed. The faster you come out of the switch, the faster you generate the speed into the kick. So again, if I launch back all the way back to here, generate enough power, which is too easy to see, too easy to read. So you shorten your switch here. More or less the same power, but it's faster. So I shorten the switch from here to here. So instead of the big movement, shorten it. Literally that. You know, and the key is not your front foot. If you watch my back foot here, and you can see I'm moving forward from it. So I go from here. Think about bringing your back leg forward, not your front leg back, because you still get that power to turn the hip. So it comes up from here, yeah? You can turn the hip into the kick. That works with a multitude of kicks, multitude of knees. So you can work it to here as well. Up the knee, up the side knee. Front kick or a T, however you want to call it here. Same thing. But my use of a switch, because my reach is here. So I want to switch here. So my feet, my body doesn't move forward, only my feet do. But you don't see them moving forward, you see me changing the stance. So when I change my stance here, now I've got the reach. But if I don't change my stance, I can't reach. I can reach with the back leg, but I want the front leg to reach. Because if an opponent standing orthodox in front of you here, if you kick off your back leg, you're going to hit this arm. But if you kick off the front leg, there's a big gap here, especially in a Thai boxer who likes to stand square, or an MMA fighter or wrestler. You want to get that front leg to go into the body here, push it back. You want to generate more power in the kick as well. Pick your knee up, push it out. This is very, very old school Muay Thai. Push kick, real simple. So you pick your knee up here. When you get to that height here with your knee here, you stick your body back, so your shoulders lean back out of the way. Two things are happening. One, pushing your opponent away. Two, look where my head goes here. I'm out the way of any counter shots. A lot of good fighters, a lot of world-class fighters do this. Next time you watch Muay Thai or advanced kickboxers, they will use a push kick in this manner. You can do the same off the back leg as well. So when it comes in here, so you push your upper body away, but you land your kick. Again, I was talking about taking from a multitude of styles, different styles. I like mixing things up. So you have Muay Thai mixed in with Taekwondo. So I want to make sure the angle is correct. Let's pull this back a little bit. There you go. All right. So your side kick, which is here, it's different from a side kick. I know that kick and teep are the same word, but I separate the two because a side kick in karate or kickboxing, which I am a black belt in, by the way, is here.
Yes.
Now I've got to come back. It's too much hard work. For a side teep, you draw the front knee over the back and you keep your hips facing forward. When it comes out, and if you look at the foot position, it's not a side kick, it's 45-degree angle, but your hips are still facing forward, which is here. I've still got my guard, and I'm still pushing out the same as a side kick. And this works really well on an opponent who's advancing on you. And when they're moving forward in, it makes them sit back. And I have on occasion made people sit down on their backside with this. If you watch a lot of good fighters and they'll throw that side teep, especially the more traditional Muay Thai fighters, they'll do this. and they literally don't even step. A lot of fighters will do this before they kick. You don't need to. It's here.
Yeah.
We can come down. They draw over your front knee, over your back knee. Here. Leave your hips facing forward here. And I'm still facing my opponent. But if I do a traditional side kick here, my balance is gone. I'm side on. I'm going to get my legs hacked. Doesn't work so well in Muay Thai. So that's a real good one to remember. But also, after you've landed that, here's where it gets tricky and sneaky. So you can take it up to here, drop here, back kick. Again, Taekwondo or karate. There's a lot of fighters, a lot of styles do this as well. So you have your side team. Whoop, this, that. Again, side team, back kick, or okay, back kick. Mix this in, try it occasionally. Also works with another hand combo, which I like to use, where I use a push away jab. So you have your 1-2-1. But what I do is I push away with this last one. And as I push away here, turn this leg in. I push away, turn. A lot of kickboxers will like this, because when you're coming forward here with the 1-2-1 and push away, and the range is correct. Because you can't do a back kick accurately, it's difficult to get that leg to come around properly and get the full extension and the kick. So you need to pull away a little bit and you hide it with that push away jab. So you go from here to here. The range is exactly where it needs to be. Hit with your heel. Because you hit with the ball of your foot on your opponent's hip or waistline, your foot will hyperextend back and you'll damage your Achilles tendon. So every time you land this kick, get used to landing with heel. Land it. So the foot is landing here with the heel. I'll finish on a couple more advanced things. A lot of more extravagant MMA fighters, Muay Thai fighters like to be a bit more flash on their techniques, mixing in different styles like capoeira, doing cartwheels and stuff. There is a kick that's called Mela de Compass, which is basically means around the world. So you have to put your hands on the ground here, look over your left shoulder here, and the leg kicks. But you can also do it with one hand. So you can set it up here. So you land that kick. So you make them lean back off the hook. Here, exaggerate the hook, make sure that they lean back, but then your leg is definitely longer. Step through with your feet here. Step through. Land the compass kick. Again, it's basically a wheel kick or a spinning back kick, depending on how you want to call it, with your hand on the ground. Two things are happening. They don't see it because they see your body go to the ground. And two, they can't punch you in the face because your head's all the way down here. And if they do try and reach in, they're eating your foot on the way up. Also, I'll show that one again so you can get to see the footwork. So it's here, switch your feet. Here, switch your feet. Drop your hand, leave this foot here. Leg comes around. As soon as your hand touches the floor, that's when you execute the kick. So here, switch with the hook if you can, because it's quicker. So as you come into here, and you can let go of the wheel. Okay, so Wushu Kung Fu, Donnie Yen has made this one really famous in a lot of his films, where they kick with the back leg straight into the lead leg, which vary the heights. And you can mix this in with Muay Thai as well. So you kick the leg kick off the back leg, and then go head or body kick with your other leg here, straight on. The key is to put the power in the kick on the back leg. But think, I'm using this to recoil back. You can't do this mid-air onto your body because your hips don't have anything to bounce back off. So you have a nice long back here, practice it slow. Generate the distance and the range low. Turn the hip over slightly. And then you start to increase the speed as it comes up to it here. And then you definitely become more affluent in that technique. Wow. But again, a lot of fighters will do this. And they'll mix it in. And they won't just throw one of those. They can multitude it with the body as well. It goes over as well. So it's the same thing. That's Taekwondo mainly. A lot of Wushu fighters do that as well. But I do mainly see it in Taekwondo. So it's more affluent in that style. Yeah. I was going to throw one more. Last one. So we do the jab cross hook. But then the next time we come back in and do it again, but we shorten the hook. But we shorten it on purpose. So here, here, here. And then the leg comes through. So you're hiding it. Yeah. They still think it's going to be a jab cross hook. So as you're coming into here, get chilled, look like you do the same. Throw the wheel kick straight after. Very sly, very sneaky. You can also, once you've done one of those, you can change it to a back kick. So it comes up again. Same action, all same beginning, just a different ending. And the more you add variety onto that, the more interesting it becomes, especially when you're fighting as well. So another one is press and kick. Same, exactly the same setup. The only difference is the ending. So first one is the wheel. So you go 1, 2 hook, you land that. Second one, you come back in, you're gonna look like you're gonna throw it again. So not secure. Come in, do it again. The wheel. Same setup again, 1, 2 hook. And then finish in the back. So it's 1, 2 hook. Come back in again. You know, your distance is great. Yeah. Third one, spinning crescent, or it's more of a capoeira kick. So, you know, you can tell. So again, he's comes in. Again, get chilled. Again, short. And because you're doing this here, you're adding torque, not T-A-L-K, but T-O-R-Q-U-E, torque into your kick, which is you twist the whole body around. And also centrifugal force, remember guys, don't have your arms out when you're doing this because they'll see your arms are spinning and they'll read that and step back further out. But if you just do this, it's faster, your body moves 10 times quicker. As fast as I can. As fast as I can now. Big difference. Yeah? You get blisters on your left foot when you spin. Wow. I hope you've enjoyed that. I will be doing some more if I'm allowed. Yes. Add more variety in techniques, especially with the fight choreography that I do. They like to see more flashy stuff, especially with the capoeira background as well. So you mix up the different styles, karate, kickboxing, boxing. You know, the boxing always works really well. Capoeira for that amazing flashy footwork and cartwheel and acrobatic stuff. Taekwondo for more aerial kicks and stuff like that, more spinning and jumping. So you can have a bit more fun with it. So I'll try and do a stunt seminar doing fight choreography. I'll try and get Dave, who's a friend of mine who I work with on a regular basis, doing stuff like this. Yeah. He talks more than I do, so be prepared. But he's such a lovely guy, he knows what he's doing. And it's an absolute pleasure to work with him. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed teaching. Okay.
Thank you, John. You are such a gem, my brother. Thank you for that wonderful instructional sharing that with us,
No
showing
problem.
me. And we always love it when you present. So thank you very, very much. It was such a treat. I'm going to go and practice the moves that you showed. And we are all looking forward to your stunt choreography session as well. And of course, John, you know,
Yeah,
here,
we'll pencil that one in. I think that'll be more fun.
yeah,
We'll get the big crash mats out for that as well.
we'll be there. Yeah, we'll definitely enjoy that with you. And you know, here at Meticulous, we definitely like to talk. So bring your friend with you, and we'll do that absolutely. But today was a blast. I absolutely enjoyed it so much. Thank you for taking the time and doing this for us. We really
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
Like I said, there's loads more I could show, but I think that was enough for today. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, have a beautiful
you.
day, John.
I will. Thank you. I have another training session after this.
Oh, my goodness, more.
Actual
Well,
class.
enjoy.
So I'm gonna put them through what I've just done here. So it's all good.
Oh, wow. Okay, well,
Okay.
enjoy. Let me know how it goes. Bye.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good day, everyone, and welcome here to Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And this week at Meticulous, it's MMAM Week. And if you don't know what MMAM stands for, it stands for the Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. And I have my wonderful guest here with me, Phil Mawdsley. He is one of our valued MMAM members, and we're going to be doing some future projects together as well. But today, we want to talk about Phil. We want to talk about his journey with martial arts. We want to talk about his journey as an actor as well. And we want to learn a little bit more about how we can cheer him on and how we can support him. So welcome, Phil. Welcome to Meticulous.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's an honor to have you here. Tell us a little bit more. How did your martial arts journey start? What developed that love for the arts?
It all started over 29 years ago when I watched films. I watched a lot of films in my younger days, in my teens. Late teens, middle teens, 17 years old is when I started martial arts. And everybody knows the most famous martial artist in the world, Bruce Lee. So it was always Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, them kind of films, and Jackie Chan films as well. What inspired me, what got me into the martial arts. And then it's from there I wanted to learn what I really want to do is to fight and learn a style. I never wanted to do anything else. Never wanted to do any other activity, only fighting was my thing. And to this day now, I'm still doing it. Thank you to the Bruce Lees and the family and all that. We are great fans and supporters of them. But yeah, so I started in traditional Budokan karate, learning the principles, learning the basics and the techniques of Japanese art. Learn the forms, katas, whichever way you call it. I like to call it forms on some styles and katas on traditional stuff. Weaponry, Japanese weaponry, kata swords. The hardest thing for me with that style was learning the Japanese side. Because when I did gradings, everything was in Japanese. It was very hard to stick it in your head all the time. So, but I managed it. I did a few grades. I spent a few years doing that style for a while, until I ripped my ligaments a long time ago in karate. I don't know how I did it. I could have been kicking fast and hard. I don't know, but it put me off for about a year in training, and I had to have this operation. I learned how to walk again on that leg. Build that leg again. To this day, I can't kneel properly on it due to damage on ligaments, but it's not stopping me from using it. I can still kick, I can still put power on it and stuff like that. So with being off from training, I didn't know what to do. So I went into another martial arts, which was Thai boxing. So I spent quite a few years doing Thai boxing under an instructor called Craig Fitzsimmons, not far from where I live. So I earned a few grades with him as well in Thai boxing. So I was proud to do that. I was proud to. Thai boxing is a tough sport, very, very tough martial arts. There's a video of me on the group chat now. Me getting a dead leg from one of the big time Thai boxing UFC instructor trainers. I kicked him and he kicks me and stuff like that.
Which group? On the MAM group?
It's on the private group. It's on the private group. So I'll send you the video later. Okay. So yeah, so it's quite a tough sport. Muay Thai means a lot to me. Means a lot to my blood. It's my family, as well as another martial arts as well. So I spent many times doing that. I'm also an assistant instructor in Muay Thai as well, so I get to pass my knowledge on after how many years in different martial arts to other students, and I love helping the kids and families and stuff like that develop in what they want to learn. It's good to do that one-to-one with people and stuff, and show them how to throw the right techniques in Thai boxing and other styles. That's what I love doing. So after spending a number of years with that instructor in that club, the club is called Sompinong, the Thai boxing club. So I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that one. And then I moved, and I wanted to do. I always have this idea in my head. I wanted to do more and more and more. So let's move on to another martial arts. So I went into a freestyle school and spent quite a long time, maybe 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. I don't know, but 10 years. So honestly, I can't remember the dates when I started that one, the freestyle. So that was a base that was mixed up with karate, kickboxing, and taekwondo. So I achieved from white belt all the way up to 3rd degree black belt in that style. And I put loads of effort in. I put 100%, 150% effort in. I focus on what I do. When I'm on that mat and when I'm training, whether it's sparring, whether it's grading, especially in grading, I focus on myself. I focus looking forward, even doing line work or whatever. And I picture myself fighting myself, training against myself, aiming at the right areas. It's an invisible person in front of me, so I know where I'm hitting, I know where I'm striking. I'm the loudest there. I'm always the loudest with the key eyes. I'm always focused and strong on techniques, but I'm relaxed and I can show my breathing completely right out. So that's what I love about doing it at that time. And I went through the grades and in the freestyle, and I got to, I think it was green belt or blue belt, I don't know, one of them. And then I was made to be an assistant in the martial arts.
Okay.
And then, so I did that for a while, and then I went into another level in the same style. So I wanted to do my level 1 qualified instructor grade. So I did that and achieved that. I think I did that about black belt time. And then I started teaching a bit. So you have to do so many hours teaching to get used to it and earn more. So I enjoyed doing that. And I thought, let's go higher. Let's keep going and going and going. A lot of people trying to quit at black belt. Seen that before in clubs. Not me. I wanted to reach my next goal, to get my first dan. I achieved that. Second dan, I achieved that. And I thought, there's more than one second dan in this club. There's other students in there. I wanted to be the first person in the freestyle martial arts in their academy to be the first 3rd degree black belt. I made the first 3rd degree black belt in the academy for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know who the ice is in that now. I know my instructor is very high. Is 4th, maybe 5th, I don't know, something like that. But I earned the first 3rd degree black belt. Now I did that grade for about 6-7 hours. So a lot of fitness in there. A lot of, talking like loads of burpees, loads of press up, sit ups, 30 minutes of star jumps, loads of line work, 7 forms to learn. and then multiple sparring. Now I had to spar for about 30 minutes and with multiple fighters, one after the other. I never got a break. So I was tired, I was smashed about, I was thrown across walls and stuff like that. I was kicked everywhere. Even though I was throwing and punching and kicking everything, no matter how much effort and effort I put in and technique and stuff, after so many minutes and stuff, you just get tired and so I was getting a bit tired and stuff, and my moves were getting a bit sloppy, but I was still standing. I was still throwing and fighting different people after so many minutes. And then another person come in, and they just went on and on and on, because I wanted to prove I was a warrior. I wanted to prove I can achieve my first degree black belt. I wanted to not give up. They were trying to make me give up, but I never gave up. I was no matter how many times they put me down on the floor, and no matter how many times I was kicked and stuff, I still got back up best I could and still fight. Yeah. And then they put me into the awkwardest position ever, which was doing the invisible chair on the wall. Sits on the wall, pretending 45-degree angle, sitting down in the invisible chair. Now, I had to do quite a number of minutes doing that. My legs were aching, my body was shaking. The pain inside was killing me. No matter how much pain you were, no matter you got tears, no matter whatever it is, how much it hurts, I had to focus and be in that position. I couldn't walk for about a week when I did that grading, but I achieved my goal. I achieved the grade, and for the effort and the spirit and the techniques I put into that grade. So I was proud to earn that belt. So that was the big thing for me. And then I never did another grade after that. I wasn't too bothered about grading after that, because I wanted to help people now. I wanted to train, obviously, and help and show what I'd done and help others and give what people give me. I want to give back in a way. So that's what I loved about doing that. But it still wasn't enough. Still wasn't enough. I wanted to do something else. So I went back to Thai boxing again. Then I went to who Craig Fitzsimmons' instructor was Sandy Holt. I went to Sandy Holt, so both Thai boxing club, who I'm currently with now. Yeah. Now he's amazing, he's phenomenal, and I'm proud of him. He's like family to me. He really is. So Bolton Thai Boxing Club is I think it says its 40th year now. When did it start? A long time ago. We just had a reunion or something like a 40-year reunion. So he learned his master is Grandmaster Scan, who I also train with from Thailand. Now he's big in Thai boxing. He's big in the world. He brought Thai boxing to the UK, Master Scan. So to train with him and Sandy Holt is a big thing for me. So with Thai boxing, I'm still an assistant instructor. I'm still an instructor in that club. I still like to help people and push people and give them knowledge. But I also train as well. Not all the time, but sometimes, not all the time, because I'm doing other things. So I'm still currently with Thai boxing to this day. And I have one more club. I do have one more club. And that is the one more. So the main clubs now is I don't really do the freestyle no more. I've walked away from that. I've got too much things going on in my life. So the Thai boxing will always be there. I'll always be part of the club. I'll always be there no matter what, wherever I am. But there's one more style who I'm very proud to be with. I've known him for over 10 years. Is my master, Grandmaster Ian Parker of MPSK. Now, MPSK is the most amazing club I've ever joined. And I've done seminars with them. I've been to seminars with them. I've been to other things and travelled with them and stuff. But I love the way he teaches. I love the way the old academy, the old club gets together and works together as a team. to work with Ian Parker and his daughter, Shannon Parker, is just amazing, amazing people, amazing masters. I love them to bits. And I'm proud to be part of MPSK, which means a lot to me. So those are my two main clubs. They really are my two main clubs. I'll be there again in September with MPSK, doing some stuff with them, some training with Shannon and training with Ian Parker. I'm also going to be back at Bolton Tie again. I'm constantly there every week in a way.
Yeah.
So, so that's what I love with the martial arts. I do love all martial arts. I wish I could learn a lot more, but pushing 45, could I do it? Yeah, I could, because age doesn't mean nothing to me. But I haven't got the time. So what I tend to do is go to seminars, go to events, the martial arts show, and learn from other people what they know, and that's a great thing to do as well. So it's in different martial arts for 29 years plus. Next May is my 30th year in mixed martial arts. So I'm proud to hit 30 years, and therefore I would carry on, but I do. No matter how much pain and I push my body through, I don't really care. I could be if I get paralyzed, I don't care. At least I've made my effort. I could be in a wheelchair and I'll still fight. I'm not bothered. That's the way I look at it. Nothing will stop me until the day comes. But after doing all that, I went into the Hall of Fame. 2018, I hit my first Hall of Fame award through Paul Bard and Bob Sykes, and then multiple awards after that. So this year I got another one called the Black Belt Hall of Fame. I've got some amazing people. There's some amazing people there. Some of the people on this show has been on here as well. Is at the Hall of Fame as well, which I'm proud to be there with Richard Jones, Daz, my brother. What's his name? James Turner. I can't believe I forgot his name. We'll be having a square-off fight again soon, I think, maybe. Square-off 1-to-1. So, yeah, James Turner. Everyone's going to be there. I wish a lot of the people from around the world could be there. But, yeah, I'm proud to be with them people. John Paul, he's going to be there as well. So he's an amazing guy. John Paul's the man. They're all amazing. They're bigger than me anyway. They're bigger than me in the world, and I'm inspired by all of them. I'm not a big martial artist. I'm not the best. I just do what I do, and from hitting multiple awards, I think I got 6 now, 6 UK coming up, and 3 international awards. There's 2 on my wall now. I have got another one in India, which I need to collect. So
yes.
So yeah, so getting all these awards and stuff is an amazing achievement. People see me for what I do and my achievements and what I do in the martial arts. So, but I don't do it all alone. It's because of other people push me and drive me and inspire me to do what I do. And like I go to every show, I always get on the mic, I always thank people. And if it wasn't for these guys, other martial artists at the events and stuff, wasn't for you, I won't be here today, getting inspired by you guys. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it. We're all family in the day in the martial arts. It means a lot to me. There's a lot more things coming up with the martial arts. I did a seminar in India, 2022, yeah. And I just went over there for an holiday, and they wanted me in the seminar there. So they put this big event up with all the students over in India. And so I was there to sign in and look over the people and meet and greet people as well, and do a bit of demonstration on something. So that was a good thing to be over there in India to see what they do compared to what we do. And some of the stuff is similar as well. So I know most of the stuff what they do. So it's a great achievement to see people from around the world. I would love to travel a lot more around the world and do things with people. Seminars is a big thing for me. I want to do seminars and give people what I know and give them some of my knowledge, not just the martial arts sides, but other martial arts side, but a different way, which we'll go into in a minute. Screen fighting is another good thing. So we'll hit that in a minute. So all the martial arts I've done and then hitting Hall of Fame meant everything to me, meant the world to me. There's always one more thing I wanted to do, and that was back in 2010. I had the opportunity. I missed it. I had to pull out. I was offered to fight for Team Great Britain in Mexico with Grandmaster Parker. Now, I won't go into too much detail of that because it involves some other people, but I had to pull out. So, but I want to do that again. I want to fight one last time. I want my opportunity to show the world what I can do and push my limits and fight for Team Great Britain to achieve it's one of my ultimate goals to do. I'm not going to say I'm going to fight forever. It's just one-off fight, one time opportunity fight. That's all I want to do in the world, and then carry on with the rest of my career. Still going to be training martial arts no matter what, but training myself, sparring, yeah, I don't mind doing that. Maybe the odd inter-club competition, but also helping is a big thing for me in the industry. And I feel like I need to give back to people what I've learned and help people best I can.
Yeah,
is a big thing. I care about people, and I really do want to help others in a big way, best I can. So moving from the Hall of Fame got me into my next career, which I never thought I'll ever do, was in the film industry. I was proud to have an opportunity doing that. I thought it was just going to be like an extra role. I was going to do a quick death scene, and that's it, over and done with, never again on screen. But it went from that to working into other projects. I think it was my mum who saw an article for a Marvel shoot happening in Manchester in England. So the shoot actually came from the States, obviously, and they shot it in Manchester, that scene. And then I was told to apply for it. So I actually applied for it. The company who were running it, I did sign up to the company. So I sent them my profile, sent them my pictures, details about me. They checked me out. And I think it was about 4 weeks later, they got back to me and says, we would like to put you in for the role. So I got put in for the role for costume fitting and stuff like that. And it was quite a good role for a film called Morbius, which is a big film and was on the screen. I think it's on Netflix a minute as well. So, but things happened and stuff, and things got in the way. But I'm not going into detail with them kind of things. So it was another opportunity, and I thought, yes, I've got a big chance to hit a nice big movie. But something came up, and I had to walk away from it. The same date I was shooting, ready for shooting that film, something came up, and I had to pull away. Big mistake. To me, it was a big mistake pulling away from it. I would have dropped anything in the world to shoot that film, no matter what. Anything personal, I would have dropped it just for that. That's the way I look at it. You only get one chance in life, and things come and go, dreams come and go, and you're very lucky to get them options again, them opportunities again. I was very lucky to hit more opportunities, very lucky. So to this day, it's a bumpy ride in the industry. I'm missing obstacles. people try to put me down and things. I get that a lot because I'm pushing myself. I want more and more and more. Over 6 years now, we're looking in the industry, probably up to seven years maybe. On my IMDb, there's 20 projects on there. I've got another 5 more lined up, 25 films lined up, done. 20 of them on the IMDb, and 5 more in 7 years, just under 7 years. It's a big thing, that. It's a big thing. So a lot of them was UK and 2 Bollywoods. There is more coming up international wise, but I can't disclose the name of the projects. I can't disclose anything at the moment, but there is big things coming up. There is some on Netflix, there is some on Amazon Prime. I was proud to shoot like XL, The Chosen Ones, where some amazing people, amazing actor Sonny Pang, I got to fight him and stuff. Tiger Shroff, Bollywood actor, martial artist. I got to work with him on screen. Now, I never got to fight him, but I got to work with him on his team, on his side. Danush, South Indian movie, great Indian actor. I got to fight him on set. That was amazing to do. There's loads of opportunities to work with people and play in different roles. I've done the odd extra, but I'll never do extras again. TV movie called The Stranger. I got to work on that, which is on Netflix. That one did to about 9 episodes, I think it was. So that's pretty good. I enjoyed that one. But whether it's a villain or a good role, I don't bother what kind of roles I get to play. I played the odd good guy, but I end up playing a lot of villains, a lot of bad guys. Maybe I look like a bad guy. I don't know. I can be a bit crazy sometimes, but I love them kind of roles. I love playing the killer, the kidnapper. I love the bad guy, the bad guy. No matter what role it is, it doesn't really matter to me because you're acting out, and you're getting paid to do it. So I'll play any role. I'm not going to bother what it is. I played roles where I had to slap somebody across the face and a woman across the face over a tree and all that. But again, it's just how the script is. It's what they wanted me out of me and stuff. But all the gun scenes I've done in films, doing the odd stunts, which I've had the opportunity to do, was amazing to do. I won't go over the top of stunts. It's good to have a stunt double in there. But I did most of them myself, where I've got back plates on and stuff like that, or some sort of armor on my body. I'll put myself on the line to do them certain stunts. If it's being pushed back over a chair or thrown over a table or anything, I will do that to a certain extent. But I also had the opportunity to learn other things for the film industry, and that was going to courses down in South Wales, where I met John Paul and Richard Jones under Rick Manning, Flashing Blades stunt team. Now I got to do a bit of wire work with them guys. I'm looking forward to going back doing more. So that's good to do, to learn that kind of stuff for filming as well, the wire work. It's interesting. It really is interesting. It does at first, but you get used to it, and I enjoy it. I'm not as skilled as them guys doing it because they're professionals, but I was proud to be there for a couple of courses and stuff to learn what they do, and I am going to learn more from them as well when I get a chance to go back. So that is a big thing to learn for filming wire work and stuff like that. The martial arts side is good in films, depending on what they want. They could want a martial arts scene in there. They could want like a brawl, but I had to learn how to fight again without hitting people, and that's what I find interesting, to do screen fighting. How to throw a punch without hitting that person. How to throw a kick without actually making contact. Sometimes you got to make a little bit of contact, but it was interesting to do, and And that's what I want to throw into seminars: screen fighting and Muay Thai, stuff like that. So filming is a big thing for me at the moment. I hope I can keep pushing and doing more, get to the next goal where I want to be. I've got articles for magazines in India. I've got articles coming to the filming and stuff, and my life, what I've done throughout my life. There's a lot of things happening in a minute. But I've always got dreams and goals, and I'm going to keep on achieving the dreams and goals. I'm going to keep on knocking these walls down to get through where I want to be, to be the best I can be. We've all got dreams, we've all got goals. I'm not going to go into them because I want to keep them for myself. When the time comes and I hit them, then I'll let it loose. I want to hit the biggest film ever. I really do. But we'll see what comes up. There is a lot of things happening, and it's just training. I have got the roles. It's just training to train your body now, training in the gym to get in the right shape for them sort of roles. So it's just a waiting game. It's just a waiting game now. But yeah, that's mostly what I do, and. But until that day comes, I'm just going to carry on training and do seminars for people if they want me, and meet lots of different people and sign stuff for people, and that's what I like to do, just to help people and in return.
Beautiful, absolutely. Shout out to James the Dragon Turner. When I come to the UK, James, apparently Phil wants to fight you, so I want to see that. I'm going to be at the ringside. And then shout out to Richard Jones and John G. Paul. I believe it's John G. Paul that works with Flashing Blades with the choreography.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So shout out to them as well. And yeah, when you were discussing the training and going into the acting world and the dreams and the goals that you have, I really always think about consistency. It's very important that we stay consistent, that we just keep going. There's always a few things in the pipeline, but as long as we are consistent, as long as we give it our best, like you said, and we really just keep pushing, there's nothing that can stop us. And I live with the belief that nothing that is for you will miss you. So, sometimes we make choices and we think we've lost opportunities. Maybe there's something better just around the corner. You gave up that one project. Maybe that's going to lead you into something that's even bigger and, even more amazing. And working towards your goals are always good.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with us here at the MMAM Week at Meticulous. You're a valued member. I'm going to be joining Phil in the UK next year. There's some things coming up. I believe we're still going to give details about that. And then we are going to structure also some or other event or seminar, either in South Africa or in the States, where we are going to be collaborating to do all of this fight choreography together. And I also believe that we're going to have a MMAM seminar, because Sensei Ron Murray on our messenger group the other day, he said, why don't we do a MMAM seminar or a MMAM event? So guys, that's all in the pipeline. Amazing martial artists in the MMAM group, like Phil, amazing actors as well. And you are all valued. Thank you for making the time. Do you have any final words?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the people from around the world who's been on your show, who I know. James, John Paul, Richard, Ian Parker, Silvio Samak, Sonny Singh, my brother. He's back home right now in Canada. So all those people mean a lot to me. We're all family, and this show as well, and yourself, amazing. I love every single one of you guys, and this show is my family, my blood, my heart. It means a lot to me. So, and this is why you deserve things. This is why you should, just why you're coming to the UK. This is why we want to see what you do. And to have you in the UK and to be at the events and stuff with all the immense people who you've interviewed, and you'll see that. It's a big thing, and we're looking forward to it. There is some other things coming up, but I cannot say. I cannot say. You got to keep secrets. You got to keep some sort of secrets and stuff like that. I've had people come up to me in the past and say, "What? How do you do that? How do you get that?" And I can't. How do I get that? What you've got? And how can I be like you? How can I be you and what you do? And I always say, I can't give you who I work for, who gets me these opportunities, who makes me to get these people, to get these jobs and stuff like that. I work hard for it. And I said to one person, says, don't be like me. Never be like me. No matter how much I've done and what I do, don't be me. Be the first you.
That's it.
That's what I need to do.
That's it. Good advice.
But there is another thing. What came up a few weeks ago, I believe it's coming to the UK next week. I think 23rd of August. It'll be here.
Oh.
Now it's coming from Dubai. It's coming from Dubai. Now, and he messaged me. He says, "I'm landing in the UK, and I'm a supporter. I'm a fan." And I thought, "Whoa! I didn't know I have fans in Dubai." And he's dying to meet me in the UK. So I'm going to go meet him. I'm going to go meet him in Manchester, where I live, one of my hometowns. I don't live in Manchester. I'm outside Manchester, but I'm going to go meet him there. But I'm proud of that one. I'm proud of meeting other people and stuff. I want to meet Daz. And every time I go to the martial arts show, I never got to meet Daz. I never got to meet him. I met him on the phone, but I never got to meet him in person. But I'm going to meet him this time. I'm going to meet him this event in November. I'm going to meet him next year as well. And there's a lot of people I want to see and travel. And I'm looking forward to doing the seminar, whether it's in South Africa or the States. That's an amazing opportunity to have. But yeah, let's and the other things that come up in the pipeline. I'm just going to surprise people what comes up. But that day comes, then people have to wait.
There we go. There we go. Lots of things going on, guys. And there will be announcements as time progresses. So, Paul, thank you for making the time. We cheer you on and we appreciate you as part of Meticulous family and the MMAM family. And yeah, just keep going. Just always keep going. Us, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.